Hello and welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Roger Norum.
And I'm Bill Littauer. Among the stories on this edition, the Harbor Island baseball diamond lights hit a temporary short circuit.
Asking the political question, can a current mayor beat a former mayor in a state senate race?
David's Island environmentalists hear from a Kennedy.
The district school budget passes and 2 new board members take their seats.
Larchmont makes another move to quiet things down. Those stories and more on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
First, the village of Mamaroneck has its own version of a Wrigley Field-type baseball controversy. Those who want nighttime baseball at Harbor Island and those who would rather not shed any light on the diamond. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Alice Bloom has more on the subject.
With me is Walter Rogers, Mamaroneck Village Trustee, and we're talking about the lights at Lanza Field, an issue that is surrounded by controversy right now. Walter, I know that the lights of Lanza Field have been under discussion for many years, and people have wanted to see them happen. Tell me, what are the issues of controversy now?
Some of the issues are the noise and the installation of lights regarding the height of the lights and the reflection across the water into areas such as Shore Acres Drive. These are basically the concerns. When we negotiated the contract with the Yonkers Contracting Company and Westchester County, one of the things that were agreed to was that they would install lights at Lanza Field.
Now, people in the community claim they didn't have sufficient notice about the lights at Lanza Field, and they'd only heard about it now. Is that an accurate feeling?
Well, let me say that there were at least one, probably 2 articles in the local Gannett newspaper, and it also appeared in our village newsletter.
And now, yet opponents also say that the consultant is the salesman for the lights, and that's an area of concern. There was no objective third party making the recommendation.
Well, he is a salesman, but he is also a consultant.
Briefly now, what's the status of lights at Lanza Field?
We have accepted guidelines. We voted and approved unanimously these guidelines, and we're going ahead with the lights.
I'm with Kate Weingarten, Village of Mamaroneck Trustee, to discuss some of those issues. Kate, what's the status on the lights at Lanza Field?
Well, last week, in response to a petition by a group of concerned citizens, the Board of Trustees did hold a special meeting a week ago, Friday, to consider what the citizens felt were certain irregularities in the specifications. And we did pass a resolution requiring that the plans and specifications be signed by a licensed New York State engineer, which previously they have not been. We also passed a resolution that test borings be done on the field in Harbor Island before we erect 70-foot poles. These, as many people know, Harbor Island is landfill, and according to the engineers and the contractors who've reviewed the documents for us, test borings would have been a safety measure and should be done in this particular project. So what we're really interested in here, I don't think anyone is talking about stopping the lights. We're talking about the safety of the people who might ultimately be down there should something happen during a storm, and we're talking about the liability of the village and going ahead with contracts that are not signed by a licensed engineer.
People on both sides of the issue have already agreed to compromises. There's been a curfew established on the use of the lights, and the proposed public address system has completely been eliminated. We'll be bringing you further developments on this issue as they happen. This is Alice Bloom for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
The village of Larchmont has amended the noise law so that motorized gardening equipment will be allowed to operate during the summer from 8 a.m. to 5:30 on weekdays and from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on weekends. During the rest of the year, only the noise level will be enforced, not the time of operation.
Mamaroneck School District residents voted to pass the proposed budget and hike taxes. For more on that and other school news, the person covering that beat for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, Monique Citron. Monique?
The polls are closed. The votes are in. The results are back. LMC-TV was there. The budget won by a total of 455 votes overall. Notice by a margin of only 10 votes at Mamaroneck Avenue School. And congratulations are in order for 2 new school board members, Ellen Freeman and Penny Ober.
Another hat has been thrown in the ring for the state Senate race in our district. LMC-TV News talked to the challenger.
I'm across from Village Hall with Mayor Paul Noto. Paul has announced his candidacy for the state Senate seat for the 36th district. He'll be challenging Democrat Susie Oppenheimer, also a former mayor of the village of Mamaroneck. Paul, what do you anticipate for this race? Do you think it will be a tough one?
Yes, I think it'll be a very difficult campaign. Incumbents traditionally have a big advantage in these races, and a lot of them do get reelected because they have paid staffs and they have access to more money. But I think it'll be an enormous challenge, a lot of fun, and I think we'll raise some very important issues.
What issues do you think will be of great concern to the voters this time?
Well, in this district particularly, the tax burden is very oppressive, and I think that'll be a #1 issue. The crime in this area and the drug problem is a very serious one. The environment, cleanup of the Long Island Sound, those are the areas I'll be focusing on.
Despite the opposition of 2 ice cream store operators and the Chamber of Commerce, the Larchmont Board of Trustees has granted licenses for 2 ice cream trucks. The owners of the Larchmont Baskin-Robbins store and the Sunday Cafe worried they would lose business to the trucks. But the board decided it could not legally regulate competition in the summer ice cream business. The truck operators would be Evan Krieger and Karen Dockrell and Jeffrey Sutherland and Matt Castle.
And now for a look at what activities are available to area seniors, we call on our newest LMC-TV reporter, Herbert Blockton.
I'm Herbert Blockton, and I'm speaking to you from the Senior Citizen Center in Larchmont. It is located on Larchmont Avenue, across the street from the police station and behind the Larchmont Library. It is a very pleasant place and a meeting place for all senior citizens, men and women of all ages and all backgrounds. It was founded 16 years ago and has given much pleasure to all its members, and I'm one of them. It is open 5 days a week from 12 a.m. to 4 p.m. Its very friendly and efficient director is Mrs. Ann Primmet. It is my privilege and pleasure to introduce her to our TV audience on cable TV Larchmont Mamaroneck, channel 36. Ann, please tell us about the many activities offered by the Larchmont Senior Citizen Center.
Well, I could go on for quite a while doing that. Basically, we have a steady schedule that goes on week to week. On Mondays, we have an exercise class, and then later in the afternoon, they play bingo. On Tuesdays, the ladies come in and have their sewing group, and we have a very active bridge group going. On Wednesday, the painting class works with Pat Sutherland, their teacher. On Thursdays, we have bridge again and computer class during the winter. And on Fridays, we have a social every week, and the senior band plays at the socials. Now, from time to time, of course, we also have public service types of activities. Yesterday, we had eye and ear screenings for problems in that area. The visiting nurse service sends someone on the first Monday of every month, and she checks blood pressure and will answer questions about medical problems, or if you have a problem with your Medicare or an insurance question, or you're not sure about something that you might ask your doctor about, but you don't know if it's serious enough, you can come in and ask the nurse on the first Monday of the month. So there are many of these types of things that we do, like flu shots. Food distributions are done from the senior center, but mostly we have a good time. If you do not have any other transportation, you can call Community Services, whose number is 381-6177, and inquire about the senior bus.
How many seniors are members at the moment?
At the moment, we have a membership of about 150, and more than 250 use the center in a casual way. That is, they don't come every week, or they are not enrolled in any of our classes, but they come when they want to have a question answered, or they lose their Social Security card and they need a letter written, or some other service of that kind, or just to say hello to their friends once in a while.
Thank you very much for the very interesting report that you gave us, and I invite all the senior citizens who listened and viewed this program to come and see us once and see for themselves if they like it. And if they like it as much as we all do, I hope they will become members of the club. Thank you very much.
The State Department of Environmental Conservation officials were called in to investigate the possible discharge of contaminated water from the Nichols yacht yards. Company officials denied pumping out the water. They say it was forced out by the heavy rains of 2 weeks ago. The DEC says the water, which was discharged into the Sound, showed significant quantities of such cancer-causing substances as benzene, toluene, and xylene.
A week ago last Sunday, a party was held to raise money for the opposition to the David's Island project. Opponents want to block development of the island as proposed by the Xanadu Property Association. Xanadu wants to put up 4 31-story tall apartment buildings. That's taller than Co-op City. 1,700 condo units are proposed on the 78-acre island off New Rochelle. A bridge from the mainland through Glen Island Park to David's Island would also be necessary. Also proposed is a heliport that would handle up to 24 flights a day. An 800-boat marina and 24 acres of state-owned land would have to be blasted for a parking lot to handle 5,500 cars. Robert Kennedy Jr. spoke at that fundraiser.
I'm here tonight because of my interest in the Sound and to urge you and to plead with you to make sure that the David's Island project never gets built. It doesn't have to be built. This today is the worst project, is the most important project to stop of any project on Long Island Sound. All of you, if this project gets built in this day and age, in 1990, not only because of the scale of the project, but in 1990, if a project like this can be built, when it violates all 44 policies of the Coastal Zone Management Act, which is our major barrier against developers in Long Island Sound, when all these government agencies, the Department of Health, the Department of State, the Department of Environmental Conservation, the Corps of Engineers, the Coast Guard, state and federal agencies, with all involvement and approvals by all of those, if we can't stop this project, we better roll up the carpets and say goodbye to Long Island Sound, because there's nothing that can be stopped in Long Island Sound. This is something that affects this entire ecosystem from the end of Long Island, from the western end to the eastern end of Long Island Sound and up the Hudson River. This is a priority for every environmentalist from the Hudson Valley all the way up to Massachusetts. And I urge you all to give everything you can to make sure that this project never gets built. Thank you very much for having me.
If you want to find out more, call the Federated Conservationists of Westchester County at 251-6888. The Mamaroneck Fire Department honored all deceased members of the department last Sunday, the 20th. It was the annual service at the Firemen's Memorial on the Boston Post Road. The services were led by Chief Joseph Guerreri, First Assistant Chief Tom Burke, and Second Assistant Chief Chip Regano. 2 wreaths were placed at the memorial by 3 members of the Ladies Auxiliary.
Scores of volunteers help out every year at the Sarah Newman Nursing Home on Palmer Avenue in Mamaroneck. And this past week, the nursing home said thank you with a reception and a banquet in their honor. Our thanks to Mary Ellen Pfaff, the Chief Administrator of the Sarah Newman Nursing Home, for assisting us on Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. Bill?
This is a pretty happy time of the year for many high schoolers in our area as we get closer to that celebrated prom night. But many residents the past week have witnessed an accident in front of the Mamaroneck High School building.
This is Matt Deutsch. I'm on the lawn in front of the post building by Swaswall. There's been a terrible accident involving drunk driving. 6 students were hurt. The driver of the vehicle that caused the accident was drunk. I spoke to a police officer. He told me this.
Okay, I was detailed to an accident scene here involving 2 vehicles. One of the drivers of the vehicle was intoxicated. The accident involved 6 youths, all 6 of which were seriously injured. The driver of the vehicle, which was intoxicated, is under arrest. He's in the patrol vehicle right here.
The Mamaroneck Village Police Department, Town of Mamaroneck Fire Department, Volunteer Ambulance Corps, and EMS all assisted at the accident scene.
1 student dead at this time. We got 3 critical on the way to the area hospitals, and we have 1 that's still critical inside this car.
Hopefully nobody will ever have to experience this, because it's not very pleasant. We just hope that this is something that will stick in your minds and make you think when you're out there enjoying yourself on the prom. And hopefully you will not drink and drive.
Obviously what you've just seen is a simulation, but it's done to prove to you the effects of drunk driving, how it can kill you. If you just look at this windshield here, these dents are made from the heads of the front seat occupants, and this steering wheel is collapsed from his chest and pelvis. Now, this was fake, but it does happen, and people do die, so don't drink and drive. From the lawn in front of the Post Road building, This is Matt Deutsch.
It's getting closer and closer. The annual St. Vito's Carnival. It begins this Friday in the parking lot behind St. Vito's Church and across from the back of Mamaroneck Avenue School. Rides, food, raffles, and just the fun for the whole family. Remember the dates on 2 successive weekends, this Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and the following Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The big raffle is for a Toyota Corolla. And that's it for another edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. If you missed any part of this program, you can tune us in any weekday night at 5:45 or around 9:45 or 10 o'clock.
And if you want to take a look and see how this program is put together, join us on a Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios in the Palmer Avenue building of the high school. It's just up the stairs from Walter's Hot Dogs. We record this program Thursday nights, and we'd love to see you here.
Thanks for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Roger Norum.
And I'm Bill Littauer. We'll see you again next week at the same time.